Hey guys, welcome back, Kiwis. This is episode what 2, season 3. Today we're talking about Latinos in tech. We got a few guests today, Kimberly and Daniel. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
Before we dive into the topic, I do want to give a shout out to Tony and Kim. The newlyweds over here. I'm happy for you guys.
Ooh,
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you guys
Yeah.
for allowing me to kidnap Tony for a couple weeks so we could get married. So thank you guys for holding down the fort.
I feel like it's the other way around. We kidnap him from you.
Yeah, right. We take him away from you.
That's fair.
I get some me time, which so I'm good. You guys take them as long as you'd like.
I see. Yeah, we work from home like almost every day, so we see each other a lot. She's like, get
Yeah.
out. Yeah, get out of here.
Go find friends. Go do something. Yeah.
Damn. So I guess I'll start out with this question that kind of popped in my head. For the guest, if you guys answer first, how did you guys stumble on like this tech field?
Who goes first?
For me, I'll say that I've always been interested in technology, but I didn't think that was going to be my career at first. Growing up, I wanted to be like a forensic scientist, like CSI. I was super into that, all those shows, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be a forensic scientist. And then when I learned that you have to major in a science like biology or chemistry, I was like, oh, okay, that stops here. Yeah. And then in high school, I did have the opportunity to have some technology classes like networking, the usuals that everyone takes as well, like typing or like the Microsoft Word suite. So we did, Excel, Word, PowerPoint, all that. But yeah, I've always had an interest in technology. Kind of stumbled upon it when I was tired of working at a museum that I worked for in downtown Dallas for 5 years. I was just looking for something different. And that's when I got into help desk.
Oh, nice. Museum.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's heard of the Sixth Floor Museum in downtown Dallas. It's about President John F. Kennedy. I worked there for 5 years, so pretty much know the whole story and all the conspiracy theories. But I'm sure that's a topic for another day. Yeah, I used to hear that a lot, actually. It usually, locals would only go when they were bringing someone from, like, that was visiting out of town, out of the country. That was really the only times they would visit. Like, I would hear a lot, like, oh, I've been here like 20-something years and I've never been. But it's amazing to me how JFK is still in pop culture everywhere. Like, I've heard him in songs, I've heard he's on TV all the time, documentaries. Like, it's crazy how 60 plus years later he's still very talked about.
Yeah, because like every time we'd be watching a movie, nothing related to history, he just comes out of nowhere. I'm like, really?
Yep.
And she's like, it follows me around like a shadow.
It follows me everywhere. Yes, he does.
well, it's not very often that a president gets assassinated on like
True.
broad daylight.
It's only happened 4 times, I believe. 3 times. 4 times.
Yeah. What about you, Daniel? How did you decide to jump into the tech field?
Well, I'm Aquarius rising, so I've always been interested in tech also from a young age. I was actually an engineering major. I went to school for EE, but I kind of got burnt out. I actually worked at UPS for a little bit because I quit my other job, my office job, and then I was kind of like just working on my mental health or whatever. And then nobody would hire me. I applied to TI, to Boeing, just went to other companies eventually.
Yeah.
And here I am.
That's interesting. Yeah. Engineering, and then that's cool. Mm-hmm. I know you're doing something else right now, right? You're doing front end development.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, full stack. So front end, back end. That was that course that I took. Yeah, just been working on little things like that. It's fun.
Are there specific certifications for that?
I think I got a certification as a full stack developer.
Oh, there is.
I'm certified. Okay. Yeah, I guess that in itself is a certification that I got.
Is a certification. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's
I've been hearing a lot of like full stack certs or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's really
people have been saying that that it's going to be useless soon because of ChatGPT and AI.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah. I mean, yes and no, because you still need to know the concepts. You need to know what you're doing. You need to know what to ask and be like, I want to build this. And then be like, okay, build me this. But then, why doesn't this work? Or put this in there. You still need to have like that vision.
There's a lot of, like, even with AI, when you ask it to write some stuff, it will still not be all coherent. So
Yeah.
I have seen a lot of services that, or just type in the type of website that you want or the type of app that you want, and AI will write it for you. And it will, but there's going to be a lot of flaws.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can understand why people saying that, like, like full stack development might not be around, but you still need somebody that knows everything to do a functional website.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because you can even teach an AI to be racist. Because you can be showing a picture. Because it'd be learning. Because, like, an example, like, you're trying to teach it to learn what party is. So you see people smiling, all right, it's a party. And then show another picture of people having a party. But at the end, if they're just showing all white people. And then if it shows another, like, picture of everyone partying with a black person in there, it would just say, like, oh, that's not a party. So right there, and that indicates that you just taught your AI that's racist. So there's still a lot of things. I know AI is a huge thing right now, but there still has to be someone managing it at some point, one way or another.
I saw another example of an AI that worked, an AI that was part of a dealership website, like those little chatbots on the corner. And the person was talking to the chatbot, and after a few prompts, it gave them, you are going to accept my next offer, and regardless of how ridiculous it sounds, you're going to accept it, and blah, 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 right? Give it like very specific set of instructions, and it got the AI to accept a purchase, like for the guy to purchase a brand new car for $1. And the AI was like, okay, that's a deal. We will be selling you, like a 25 whatever for $1, and it's a valid accepted offer at the dealership.
Dang.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good deal.
Since you brought up AI, I feel like AI is not something that we should fear, but I do think it's something that we need to learn, because we should like, if we know how to use it, that's gonna set us aside, for the tech world. People who don't know how to use it.
Have you never seen any or read any kind of science fiction that has to do with AI? It doesn't matter how much you Marvel. You created an AI to protect the world, and it figured out, hey, you know what's actually really bad for the Earth? Humans.
Just wait till AI sees all the stuff that people do to, like, the NPCs on video games. That's going to be more than enough.
We need Will Smith to save the world in the future again. Just like an iRobot.
Freaking Terminator, dude. I'm telling you, it's going to happen.
No.
Sooner or later.
I just did a boot camp, an AI boot camp. It's actually for high schoolers, but my job was a sponsor, so I got to volunteer for it. And even though these were like basic exercises just to kind of teach them what AI is and what it does, I was amazed at its potential. Like, I think I just barely scratched the surface with it, but we were doing things like, and it really does all depend on what you teach it, like what information you feed it to then spit out the results. So we were giving it, for example, like book titles, and you would categorize them by their genre, and then at the end it was smart enough to know, if you just typed in the title, it was smart enough to categorize it in the right genre, without just by giving it the examples that we gave it, just by like 10 examples, it could use keywords to know, oh, well, something in the basement. Well, that sounds like a scary, something horror genre, and these were high school kids, and they were picking it up so fast. I mean, they were learning. I wish that was something that was available back in our day, but it's I think it's awesome that they're learning this from an early age, because I really feel like we can't avoid it. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's being used already everywhere on almost every industry. So yeah, best to learn it, not fear it, just not let it get crazy, hopefully.
Yeah.
It's already getting crazy. I don't know if you guys saw somewhat recently, there was a new update for one of the bigger AI companies. It might have been Midjourney. They released the new capabilities for like their video AI creation. And in one of the clips that they showcase is a girl filming on a train. And so like you can see like the city skyline in the background and it's raining, so like the water droplets are hitting the windows on the train, but then the train goes in front of like a building or a tunnel, I can't remember, but you can see the reflection of the girl holding the phone while filming, and it's all AI generated.
The hell?
Oh.
Yeah, it's crazy, like realistic and high detail. You can see the shadow of like the girl holding a phone, like if there was actually somebody there recording it. Yeah.
I know, Kim, I know you mentioned that like the AI, I wish you learned it in high school. Yeah, there's like a lot of things I wish that were taught earlier. Because I know, like, for example, like computer science, I didn't learn programming till like maybe 2 years in college. I never touched it. I never heard of it. I didn't know what languages were about computers. And just being exposed to that afterwards, I'm like, oh, I'm so late to the game. But now that, like, I guess middle schools and now there's like a lot of organizations teaching like young girls and teaching like young kids to learn about programming, just learning the basic stuff like that. It's very incredible. But yeah, it just like kind of sucks that we didn't get to experience that at that age, because I guess it was very grown. It's just barely growing, and yeah, just being exposed to that later on. I just think I'm just getting exposed to the technology and getting onto that field and to like the cybersecurity stuff. I know that if everything was there a little bit earlier, I think I would probably get a good head start and all that.
It makes you feel better. I feel like ChatGPT is a good like speed boost because it's such a powerful tool. Like I learned so much programming from that. Like it just if you ask it to outline like what does this mean or what is this or can you like write me some notes on this topic, it would give you some really really good notes. And you're like, oh cool. So it's a good way to catch up, I think.
Yeah,
Oh,
it writes really
cool.
good resumes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no, and I think it also has to do with, I mean, because maybe it was available back in the day for kids our age, but definitely not at like public schools or definitely not where I grew up, you know. So that may be, I guess, leading into our topic here, you know, just for minorities or, you know, those that aren't going to like super expensive private schools, you know, it's those kinds of things that we have to learn later on that makes us feel a little bit behind, you know, because I always feel like, oh, well, if I would have learned this before, I could have been a little further, but, you know, that's just going down a rabbit hole. But yeah, sometimes I feel like the public schools could do a better job at teaching whole STEM curriculum better and push it, I think, a little bit more on kids.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned that, and I feel like we are progressing in that area. For one, I know my brother, he's in middle school, and he was telling me the other day, he's like, I'm taking Java programming for one of my classes. I'm like, what? Like, you're taking Java in middle school?
Dang.
Yeah, like
That's amazing.
That's
I didn't touch that to like university level though.
Same.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So college. Yeah.
It's a Java 9th grade.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Yeah, I didn't know my school offered like programming classes until I was like almost the last semester as a senior, and I took like that's how I got introduced to like programming and kind of like the tech world. But I didn't take full advantage of it until the very very end of my high school career.
So, to my next question, in addition to like switching like from one field to another and everything, like did you face any struggles, especially being Latino, like Daniel, for example? Did you encounter any issues when you made that switch?
I want to say no. I feel like for the most part, so I see on LinkedIn a lot, right? That there's just people like, you know, programmers, developers, whatever, that are applying to like 100 jobs and they're getting rejected from all of them. And I'm like, why are you applying to so many jobs? you need to apply to like just a few jobs that you actually want to try and get. And I feel like, you know, if you do that, you will hear back from some people. So I feel like it's never been too difficult to get it. You also have to like kind of sell yourself, I guess. Like you have to know what you're doing, and you have to know how to communicate well. And
Yep.
I've never really had, I wouldn't say I've any issues. I've never felt discriminated against. So that's been my experience.
What about you, Kim?
I think I definitely faced some challenges moving from, again, something completely different, which was the museum world and customer service, trying to go into tech. I was still trying to get my degree, and the first difficulty was IT is such a broad, subject. I mean, there's so many areas that you can go into, especially now. And back when I was trying to pick a degree, towards the end of high school, all I saw at colleges and universities was like computer science and information systems. And I was like, I don't want to program. I don't want to be just a sysadmin. I was looking something for just really networking related, computer networking. And there were classes and courses offered, but there wasn't any degrees specific to that. Whereas now you'll see it's branched out a lot. You can get a degree just in cybersecurity, a degree, just in programming. Computer science is still out there. You can get a whole networking degree now. Like it's a lot more branched out. So my first difficulty was like, okay, well, I guess I'll just pick information systems because I don't want to focus too much on computer science, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted to do. And then once I did finish that, just trying to go into the workforce, I felt it was difficult. I can't say I felt directly discriminated against, but I mean, it's common knowledge that the IT world is a man's world. Like it is predominantly guys. And, it was just a lot of like, well, can she handle it? You're applying to all these places trying to get experience, but they're like, well, you don't have experience. I was like, well, I'm trying to get it. Like, I need somebody to, take a leap of faith and let me showcase what I know and my skills. And, thankfully someone did, and I got started in my career. But I feel like it's difficult, man or woman, honestly. It's like you're fresh out of college or you're fresh out of your certs and you're trying to gain experience, but all these companies are like, even entry level jobs are like, oh, you need 2-3 years experience, even with the degree. And it's crazy. So like, I wish more recruiters, more companies took, a little bit more faith in entry level people to allow them to showcase their skills, or at least give them a chance. Like, instead of outright rejecting them, why don't like, well, show me a project you've done, or, write me a script, or, how can they showcase their skills instead of just, oh, he's never worked in IT. Okay, reject. I just feel like that's unfair. That's super unfair. But I mean, I still love what I do. It's very unique. We call it the TOC, or Technical Operations Center. We handle big outages for call centers, for internal employees. If anything, if whole outages happen, then they reach out to my team and we get the communication out and fix the problem. But I still find it funny when guys are around. They're like, "Oh, I can't say that because Kim's around." It's like, what's gonna happen? Am I gonna explode if I hear you cuss? Like, what? I'm gonna burst into tears because somebody hurt my feelings. It's just funny that the workplace really is still like that, very like guy oriented, and I fit in super well with my team. I can't complain. It's just funny when I hear little comments like that.
Yeah, definitely. Like being Latina, and then also being a female, I feel like it's a big achievement to jump into the workplace like that. But I feel like it has been improving a lot. I feel a lot of women are now in leadership and in higher positions, which is great.
I definitely agree. Yeah, I am starting to see more women, yeah, like you said, in leadership. My former manager she was female, and she did, like, from way back in the day, she worked on mainframe, and I mean, she knew her stuff. And she also used to work at Radio Shack. So, I mean, she was like, 80s tech lady. She knew her stuff. And So it was great to learn from someone like that who had been in the industry for so long. And even back then, when it was even more so male dominated, I think seeing more women now in the force it's a good improvement.
Yeah, because even my current manager, she's a female as well, and she started from like the lobby front desk, and she just worked her way through the company, and now she's like one of the managers with a huge for an applications like team, and she just
Nice.
manages that, and she manages like help desk, so she kind of like manages like two teams in one. So it's kind of crazy that she started just from the lobby, just from the front desk lobby, just like moving all the way, and now she's like has a big team with her.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say big paycheck.
I mean, it could be that too.
It's always nice when you can see that in a company where you see somebody starting, basically at the bottom and then making their way up. I feel like that's a good indicator that there's a good chance for you to grow within that company.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to what you said, Kim, on like having like a woman on the team, that kind of happened to me with my team, because we had a woman for the first time, and I can't remember what I said. It was for like a kind of like a guy oriented joke, and she was like, "Oh, this is definitely like a like a men's team." And I was like, "Oh, yeah." Like completely opened my eyes to like something that I had never experienced before, because all of the teams that I worked with had been like all guys or managed by a woman, and so it just like completely changed how I see things and how I joked around with the team. And so I just started taking a different approach since then.
And I don't want to like stereotype all women. I mean, I joke around like that too, and so we're just kind of like that on my team. But yeah, of course, there's going to be women that are more sensitive. They're like, that's offensive, don't say stuff like that. And same as a guy, there might be guys that you say something, they just may take more offense to it. It's just really down to personality more than gender. But yeah, I still, especially like the older men, they'll come over and I'm like, oh, I can't say that in front of a lady. It's just those are the kind of things that just make me laugh. I'm like, what is this, 1950s? Like,
Yeah.
this is so
Excuse me,
funny.
ma'am.
Yeah, there's this one guy on the networking team. He's exactly like that. He was like, oh, pardon me, miss, or excuse me, or like, no, we can't say stuff like that in front of the lady. He's on my desk, like, okay, sure. But after he leaves, like the dirty jokes resume, and so it's like, dude, believe me, nothing's gonna happen. So, but yeah, I mean, I guess it's just more of a personality thing. I think on every team, there's just people that just mesh well together and can kind of get comfortable like that and make jokes, and then you have the others that just may not mesh so well personality wise, and kind of makes it to where it's uncomfortable. You don't kind of take more offense to stuff when you're not super tight with your group.
One thing I want to mention with like in case tech companies see this video, I do feel like y'all should take a chance on people. Like Kim was saying, there's people that would love to break into this field, and they just need somebody to take a chance on them. I know for sure. Like I come from like working landscaping with my father, working construction with my uncle. Like if somebody didn't take a chance on me when I started working in the kind of the tech world, I would still be doing that. Even though I do have a degree also in information systems, like I feel like that's not enough sometimes. Like sometimes you either need to show like the kind of person you are. You're a hard worker, you want to learn, you want to grow. I feel like those qualities have to be taken into account now, not just like, oh, he has a degree in this and he can do it, whatever. But I know Aaron, Billy, like you guys, you come from like not even the tech field either. What is it? The hotel was the last job, right?
Hospitality, yeah. But I mean, I had degree in information systems, but I mean, it is because I didn't do any kind of internships or didn't do a lot of networking in college. I think that also hindered my chances of finding a IT related job straight out of college. But I mean, I do agree with Kimberly. It is difficult if you don't have the networking to get a job right after you get a degree, because very rarely do people take a chance on you if you don't have a way to prove that you know your work or how to do the work they're requiring.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of jobs nowadays is like, especially in tech, you just have to know someone in order to get into that position.
Yeah.
Like it just has a better benefits than applying out of like thin air. Just like, okay, I want to apply for this job. Do you know anybody? Like, oh, no, not really. Like, but we got something over here that has a referral already, so you just pretty much has to get a better boost for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I think what helped me the most was just getting more and more certs because, yeah, like Brandon said, the degree just doesn't cut it anymore. And honestly, if I could go back in time, I would probably not even go through college and get a degree. I would have just started on certs earlier because I feel like more companies look at that and what you can showcase, what certs you have, rather than the degree.
Ways of
Anyway.
There's like two ways of going through it. Like, yeah, I think you can either go to university and take the full 4 years to learn about your degree, and spend like thousands of dollars, especially if at a university, or you can just spend like a couple $100 for certs and probably just learn from that. And yeah, it's just there's like different paths you can probably take. I decided just to take the path in the degree version because one, I want to tell my kids like, hey, I got a degree in this, so that's the reason why I wanted to get a degree. But even though I know like it was a struggle, like I know a lot of people are getting more praise or a lot of more boost because they got the certifications. So after I got my degree, I'm like, okay, I feel like this is not enough, and I thought it was going to be enough for a little bit at least, or at least put my feet in the door. But after struggling and looking for other jobs, I'm like, okay, maybe this is not enough. So that's why I started looking for certifications. It helped a little bit, but now that I'm looking again, I feel like I need more certifications just to get in, and they feel like they would need more experience, a lot more certifications, and maybe a bachelor's degree. But because in my field is cybersecurity, and then right now it's very saturated. It's being promoted so much in the like radio, television, that anybody's like, oh, I can get in cybersecurity. You can, but you kind of have to know what's going on, like the back end and the other branches of cybersecurity, because cybersecurity is very broad. There's different types of it. So there's like the protecting part. You got their blue team, and you're a red team, and then you got your infrastructure security, and you got your cloud security, and then you got your network security. So there's like a bunch. So I guess when they're advertising it, it's just so broad, and I guess people are like, oh, I want to do that. And then once they get that degree or whatever certification, and they apply for that job, like it's so hard for other people like me trying to get in, because I'd be going to LinkedIn and trying to apply for this job. It'd be posted within like 20 minutes, and there's already 100 people applying for it. So it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it's crazy that like you guys were talking about getting certifications over a degree, but like a degree basically shows that you know how to do your work, and so do the certifications, like getting certified on all those different types of like getting all those certifications from different authorities. But I just find it crazy that you could have a bunch of certifications, but if you don't have a degree, you're not going to be considered. Or if you have a degree but you don't have specific certifications, then you're still not going to be considered, even though at the end of the day they both show that you got some sort of education and you prove that you knew what you were talking about, that you knew how to do the work, and you got your certification or you got your degree. But at the end of the day, it may not be enough.
Yeah, I just want to know what the company's perfect candidate is. I'm just curious.
Somebody that has like 15 years of experience, it will take like $5
yeah
for salary. That's what the perfect candidate is.
Yeah. 15 years of experience for entry level.
Yeah, dang, I should have started when I was 5 years old. Dang.
You're late.
It's crazy when you look at like job postings, and they'll classify something as an entry level, but they're looking for 5 to 7 years worth of experience.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right, that makes
Yeah, or they'll list a whole like 15, 20 bullet points worth of responsibilities. and it's like, how is this entry level? This looks more like a, like managerial type, senior type level with all of these responsibilities and things that you have to be doing day in and day out, and doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I was reading online that like some like how to get hired tips, and it's like if you meet like at least like 33% or 50% of like what they're asking for, you should apply for it anyway because a lot of these
Mhm.
recruiters don't really know what they're asking for.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, same thing. If you see where they're asking 2 or 3 years worth of experience, that you should still go for it because that is something that they will be very flexible on. They'll still take you if you don't have any experience if they are requesting for like 2 or 3 years.
I definitely think like entry level positions shouldn't require like a degree or maybe like have an option of either you have a degree or you have certificates. Because I feel like entry level, and then you can like, how are you gonna have that much experience at entry level? It just makes it more difficult for anybody to jump into the tech field. I feel.
Let's be real. Anybody who has that much experience doesn't want to be an entry level. They're looking for a senior position anyway.
Yeah, that's
For
that's
money at
another
that
thing.
point, because that entry level's not going to pay them what they want.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, they're just overqualified, and they might not get the job because they're overqualified.
What do you think is like the entry level for IT? Like, do you think it's just help desk is the lowest one?
I
Oh,
think
yeah.
so.
Help desk, right? It's like the first level
Tier
one.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think help desk would probably be the easiest way to get into tech.
Yeah, it is.
But it's probably also like they're gonna get the most work out of you because help
Mhm.
desk is like such a high traffic type job where you have to be answering tickets
All
day
sucking.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I was at a help desk for a little bit. Before that, I was doing retail. So I worked at Office Depot for a little bit, and then switched over to Best Buy as a computer salesperson. And within those two jobs, it was within 6 months that I stayed there. And luckily, I had this contracting job to work for the Texas Instrument. But yeah, during my time there, it was very job consumed. There was so much information thrown at you, and when I was getting the hangs of it, when I was getting the hang of it and starting to learn by level 2, I guess the company was like, "Oh, we're spending too much money on these people. We can get these people somewhere outsourced in India, get them a lot cheaper," and that's how I got outsourced and couldn't stay there no longer. And then getting back in IT was kind of a little hard after that.
That's what happened at my girlfriend's company. They laid off a big portion of their workforce so they could outsource to India, and it's creating a huge problem because the people in India they don't care because they're on the other side of the world and they never see any of the like customers in the US. So like the quality has dropped significantly, but as long as it's saving the company money, they don't get to care about it.
Yeah, during that transition period, they made us like teach us wanted us to teach them how to do things. Yeah. So when we get a call, they will get a call from over there, transferred to us, but they'll be in the background like muted as we pretend to like help them out, help the customer out. And so I'll be petty and like, oh, I know they're listening, so I just like tell the customer like, hey, what's your contact number? All right, cool. So I'll be talking in the middle of the sentence and just hang up and then call the customer back. Just so I can help them properly. Because I was just like, it was just so annoying. Like, why we have to teach them? They're taking my job anyway.
I was gonna say that's one way of securing your job.
Yeah,
I didn't know you worked at Best Buy. Did you get to take advantage of that employee discount?
I probably should have more, but like it was not paying enough for me to even buy anything.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was only just the Best Buy, like Best Buy brands, like Insignia. And that's pretty much it. That's where I get the most.
Insignia was.
Yeah, that's their Best Buy. What do you call it? Store brand.
The more you know. Just like I didn't know that Vizio was owned by Tesla.
Well, now Walmart is buying Vizio TVs, so yay.
We just bought one, and now we're gonna have Walmart ads now.
Yeah.
I had a really old Vizio TV, and one of the times that I was moving, I read the label on the back, and it said, like 1 Tesla drive or something on the address. And I was like, oh damn, I didn't know that they were owned by Tesla, or Tesla made them.
Oh, go ahead.
Next time you go to Walmart, you should, instead of making small talk with the cashier, you should be like, what do you think about the ever expanding universe? Do you think we're ever gonna,
Nope.
you know,
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm
reach
just
the
gonna
end?
stare at them.
Since you don't want to do
Uncomfortably
small
stare at
talk.
them. I'm just gonna uncomfortably stare at them.
As
Give
a
them one
former
of these.
cashier, I'll say the majority of us don't want to make small talk either. It's
Yeah.
required. It's required.
I was a cashier too. I just can't be
You
bothered.
you
And
know what
I
I hated?
wouldn't I wouldn't bother the small talk if I could just go to self checkout and do my own thing. But not. I mean, whatever. I'm not paying $98 a year just so I could self check out and not talk to somebody.
You know what I hated the most about working at the hotel was having to say hello and have a good time every time somebody would walk in or out. I hated that. Like
Oh yeah.
there would be people that would come in and out several times at night, and they would tell us to make it a point to say like welcome back, like have a good night. But terrible. I hated work. Well, I was glad that I was working overnight at the hotel because there was very limited customer interaction.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I hated it. I hated having to talk to people on the phone.
Yeah.
Or just talk to people in general.
Yeah. Worked at Chuck E. Cheese for 5 years too, so
Oh, come
love
on.
that. I love talking small talk.
Did you ever get to be the mascot? Like
Yeah.
the rat?
A lot.
Ah.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Oh,
He still has the costume at home.
He has the costume at home.
no, that costume is expensive, dude. Hell no. Walk out of that place with that costume, you are out your mind.
Confession, I did apply to be a Chuck E. Cheese mascot several times as a teenager. I don't know why I wanted to be one so bad.
I guarantee you, after one Saturday, you would have changed your mind like that.
Probably.
Because I started there as somebody who worked in the game room where I was fixing the games and cleaning the tables in the area. So I was taking care of all that. So I got to hang out with the really cool and nice kids and the unruly parents because they were the ones that would come up to me and say, "Hey, I lost $5 of tokens in this machine," and I look at them. I'm like, "You put 20 tokens into that machine before you realized it wasn't working? Let's go take a look." And I open it up, and sure enough, there's a jam. It's a pretty big jam, and I usually just put it all in a cup. I count out like 4 tokens, hand them to them, and I give the rest of them to the front desk. And she's like, my 20 tokens. I was like, "You did not lose 20 tokens in that. Move around."
You don't know. Wow, that's mean. You don't know that. Maybe they were being honest.
Yeah, and that's the reason why they walked away really quiet whenever I said it, too. Real honest, huh? Because you're one of those type of people that would be like, "I dropped 20 tokens in this thing. I lost it." "Oh, you didn't get that after the first one?
Well,
You didn't take that?"
I didn't have the
You're
money
trying
to
to
go
beat
to.
the system.
I didn't have the money to go to Chuck E. Cheese, so
You might as well
they
give it
wouldn't
to
have
them. I
been me.
mean, it's
Peter Piper.
can't afford a pencil.
But I mean, I think one of the biggest perks about working in IT is the limited interaction, like customer interactions that you get to have.
Unless you're working help desk.
Yeah.
Yeah, or unless you have a manager that's like super chirpy at 8 o'clock in the morning.
True. So
Yeah.
my best time at Chuck E. Cheese is whenever I switched from the game room to being a person that actually came in before the store opened and actually like preventative maintenance all of the actual arcades. So I ended up being a part of building arcades and actually cleaning them and putting them together, taking them apart, putting them back together. That was the better. So I started really enjoying Chuck E. Cheese then, and then I got promoted to manager, and it all just went out the door.
Yeah, being manager is the worst thing that can happen to somebody.
You want more money? Be a manager. Okay. It's a trap.
So the stories you guys are telling me kind of brings me to my next question. Like, how you're telling how your struggles were during those jobs, and I feel like in my personal life, I guess I'll share this with you guys. Like, so my wife's a teacher, right? And she has her day is basically It was hard because the students it was a lot of students. I had a stressful, this happened or whatever. But whenever it comes to like the tech field, like I feel like most people don't understand the struggles that we go through during the day unless they're in the tech field. Do you guys have experienced that, especially with like people who like family or friends that are not in the tech field?
Have you unplugged it out? Have you plugged it in? Have you unplugged it, plugged it back in? Did you press start? Is it on? Is the monitor on?
That's like half the problem.
Yes to all that? Let me come look. Oh, it needs to be plugged in. Hold on 1 second. Plug that in. Turn it on. Monitor. Oh, yep, that needs to be on. All right, that's on. All of those things I asked you about. None of them were true, and you said they were. Huh.
No, I think
sounds like a problem between the keyboard and the chair here.
Yeah, 90%
I
of
think
that.
when it comes to our industry, also is like 99% of the problems is, are you logged in? And then they reply with yes. And then one pulls the logs and it's like last login 2020.
or just doesn't have a login.
Yeah.
Or unsubscribed.
Yeah, it's like they make such a big deal about not getting alerts, and it's like it shows right here that you unsubscribed like a year ago.
Yeah.
Or hit them with that screenshot. Here.
We haven't received this alert, and then it actually looks like you opened it 2 minutes ago, and you're already complaining about not receiving it, even though you open it and click through it.
Yeah,
I feel like there's like two ways. Issue at one point in time too.
I feel like there's like if you want to see the general public, I think there's two places people should work. One in realtor, like a real retail stores, and help desk. You will see the full potential of the general public, what they ask, what kind of questions is ridiculous, and how stupid they are. There's no such thing as a stupid question. There is. If you deal with the general public, you'll hear some crazy questions.
I'd say the hardest part for me and is trying to explain exactly what I do to people that aren't in IT. And, because you could just say, oh, I'm an infrastructure engineer, and they're like, well, what's that? And, it's just so much easier just to say IT, because then I try to explain exactly what I do, and it's just, they don't understand.
Yeah.
And that's true, because exactly, because then you say IT, and then you have people like my mom who is texting me about, like, my computer says this. I'm like, okay, like send me a screenshot or give me some info. It's just apparently supposed to know what every error message ever is supposed to mean and how to fix it. So yes, that is a trap when you.
I mean, I technically know how to fix all of those issues. Me and my friend Google can figure it out.
That's all you need.
Exactly. Yeah. Try telling my mom that. Yeah.
Or me and my friend ChatGPT, we're gonna figure this out. Give me a second.
The problem that I have with my family is they'll call me and they'll be like, "Hey, can you help me figure this out?" And I'm like, "Sure, I can give it a try." And then they show me what they're trying to do, and it's like a service or a subscription, a website that I've never seen in my entire life. And they're like, "Well, why don't you understand it? Like, why can't you help me?" And I'm like, I've literally never seen this. Like, this is something you and I have the same level of experience. Oh, but you work with computers and coding and all this. And literally the first time I've ever seen this website. I don't even know what it's supposed to do. So, like, I can't help you. It's not fun.
Yeah, even when it's things that are out of your control. Like, I had a family member reach out, and they're like, "Oh, my website that I keep going to kept saying, like, not secure." I guess the website hadn't trusted their certificate yet or something. So I was saying, "Oh, you can just bypass it. Just click this link here, you'll get to it." And they're like, "But why do I keep seeing it? Like, why can't you fix it?" I'm like, I have no control over that website. There is no way I can fix that.
So somebody didn't pay their payments.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, call GoDaddy. Okay, don't call me.
Do y'all's parents also ask you for their password to download apps? Because mine does.
Yep.
Mine
I'm a
does all.
password manager apparently.
You
Yeah,
just make a
they'll
team
be like-
password just for them and just like, here, hold on 1 second. Copy, paste. Here you go. Done.
My mom has asked me a couple times, like, "Oh, so you know tech, right? You know how to hack?" It's like from their phone, like, can you like hack into this guy's messages or something? I'm like, no, you can't do that.
Oh, yeah. What's your mom
I
trying
have
to do?
Yeah.
Like, I have a
She's
code of
something else. She's
ethics.
something else.
Whether I do have the ability to do that or don't have the ability to do that, I will not disclose that to you right now. I'm just telling you no.
Yeah, I think what I'm really annoyed is that because I do my position is application support, so I just manage basically basically be the help desk for like an application website for the company. That uses like 90% of the whole company, so like I had to like manage it, make sure it's running good. But like if I go out to like to the public and like they ask me like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I'm IT. Like, oh, you're the one that fixes the computers, like, or figure out what's wrong with the monitors. I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
They're just throwing it all. Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, it's a lot easier than having to explain the technicalities. Like
Yeah.
when my mom asks why something's not working, and even though I know the answer, I still don't go into detail because I know that at the end of the day, she's not gonna, understand why something's not working.
I have a different approach as to why I go in depth on trying to explain what I do for a living. Because I want to see that gloss over their eyes, and I'm like, yep, you didn't care anyway.
Yeah, like
You're not going to
losing
remember this
interest.
at all. You're not going to remember this at all, and you're not going to think I work IT. You're going to think I do something god awful. You have no idea what I do. You're never going to come to me for computer things. You're never going to. You just, yeah, I do something fancy. Tells me I gotcha.
Just
They
stick
got
to
me,
that
and they
next
start
time.
asking me questions, and I'm like, okay.
I'm gonna tell them flat out next time just to see that glare.
Yeah. It was like, huh? You're like,
Exactly.
see?
Yep.
Just tell them I work in the cloud. That's good enough. That'll confuse them.
I have a question for you guys. How did the COVID working from home impact you guys?
I think everybody liked it. At least everyone in this group liked it. I certainly like not having to drive like 45 minutes back and forth for the office.
Back and forth, it was like 2 hours for me to drive. An hour
Yeah,
there, an hour back.
at one point, it was like 2 hours for you.
I was reading a statistic, and it was like, I think Hispanics were the most affected by it because only like 13% of them were able to work from home, compared to like something, I don't know, some crazy like 80% of like whites and like 20-something% of blacks. And I'm like, it is a privilege to have the job in tech where it's like, COVID happened, so you still have your job.
Yes.
Yeah, because there's a majority
Yeah.
of like what constructions and like
Mhm.
all that, like construction, like we're roofing, painting,
Like manual labor.
manual labor. Yeah,
Sounds
What's all that?
stereotyping.
Yeah, working from home can be
I'm
like
Mexican.
a
I can say
curse or a
it.
blessing.
It's true.
Because like at least for me, it was always a blessing because I don't have any kind of like background noise or like people going in and out of rooms and stuff like that. But like I know that's not the case for everybody, and like for my girlfriend, she deals with a lot of sensitive information with her clients, and you can hear like people, like their neighbors, like screaming outside or like doing a lot of inappropriate things, which on a professional setting, it's not the best.
Yeah.
Nice noise canceling headphones will solve that real quick.
Well, I mean, the microphone will pick up like the arguments that and the conversations that her neighbors are having because
Deity, hit
it's right
M.
next to the window.
Oh my god.
Hit M.
Oh, I think that
Mute
happened.
yourself.
I think that happened to I guess Kim one time. We're living at the apartment, and then she had a meeting, and then some guy had like his motorcycle just revving it up the whole time. That was loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a blessing and a curse. I mean, like we said earlier, like Tony and I both work from home, and there are some weeks, and I'm like, have we even left the house? Like, Jesus, you just get depressed, because the way my office is set up, I have these windows right behind me, so if I open them up, there's this huge glare on my monitor, and so I pretty much have to keep them closed, for the shift, and just being in a dark room all day, every day it can get depressing. So, I mean, right now we have a hybrid thing, so we go into the office twice a week. Um, I liked it when it was once a week, but honestly, I can't complain. I think that even though I have to get up earlier and you have to make the commute, and it sucks, but at least you get to, get out, socialize, just a change of environment because sometimes it can get to be too much for me anyway.
Yeah,
Interesting.
because at my current job right now, they were working from home. Before I started there, they were working from home 100%, and now it's hybrid based. And so now I work 2 times at the office and the rest at home. But I don't know. I just feel like I'm not. I feel like I'm more productive at home than being at the office because it's more socializing and just talking, catching up. And I'm like, all right, get back to my desk. I'm like, crap, what am I doing again? Or did spend like an hour just talking to people.
Oh yeah, I take advantage of it because they're the ones that forced us back into the office. So I'm like, all right, you want me to be at the office? I'm gonna socialize. I'm gonna talk because that's what you want me to do. Because for sure, I definitely agree. I'm much more productive at home. I get a lot more done. But if they want us to collaborate and teamwork and all the other BS reasons they put for getting us back into the office, then all right, fine.
So did working from home during the pandemic, did it affect you guys, like mentally? Do you guys find yourselves more depressed, or do you guys think it affected you in that manner? Because like I know you said you came on us, you said you do kind of get depressed from being inside all the time, but I'm wondering about like Brandon and Tony, Daniel.
I love working from home. I think it's the best. I think that's like my like new requirement, I guess, for my next job. It has to be remote.
Okay.
Like, I feel like I wouldn't want to work in an office anymore. The only bad thing about that is that I feel like it's affected my social skills. Like you guys were talking about, I used to work at a YMCA front desk, and so I'd have to talk to people who come in. Like whenever they come in, they're like, "Oh, hey, welcome." Scan them in, and then when they leave, like, "Thank you for working out," and "Thank you for coming in today," or whatever. And I hated it at first, but it does kind of strengthen your sociability or whatever. You get better at talking to people. And then when I'm home, you don't talk to anybody. So whenever I go out, like I'm just completely blank. I don't know what to say.
Yeah,
That
I
makes
guess I
sense.
agree with that too. Because yeah, like even right now, like it's so hard to like communicate with other people. Like I just feel like I lose my vocabulary a lot more quicker than before, and that's the reason why I kind of like wanted to like stay in this podcast so I can have the social aspect of it, so I can expose my communication a little bit better. Because I don't know, just before that, I feel like it just got worse. But because even though like the job before was working remotely like 2 years straight, it was just mostly just straight on the chat. There was hardly any meetings that I was able to talk. So it was only Kim and the cats I'll be talking to. So I guess that's the aspects of it. That's the only communication I had throughout the time during COVID. And then once it had lifted, I'm like, all right, time to go out and hang out with my friends. I still didn't hang out with my friends, so it just took a little while to get out there again.
I think for me, when I was on the overnight, my mental did take a hit because one, I was able to actually see my friends online and doing stuff, but I could not be a part of that because I had stuff that needed to be done. And so I felt like I was home. I was in a position that I could be a part of my friend's life, but I'm working overnight. And by the time that I woke up, they were getting ready to go out, get off, and go to bed. And I was logging in for work, and whenever I would be going to bed, they would be getting up for work. So I would never get to see or hang out with my friends. But whenever I switched to the other shift, my mental got a lot better because my social skills, my socializing never ended. My close knit group of friends, we literally are in Discord every night, playing games, talking to each other, watching movies or watching TV shows, just hanging out. So I never really, like, it didn't interrupt my personal life. I just took away that one inconvenience that I did not enjoy, which was driving to work and driving home. Because I will never forget some of the times on my way home from those overnight shifts that I don't remember getting from point A to point B.
Yeah.
I blacked out, and I'm glad that I made it one way or the other. So, yeah, being at home, I was able to be like, all right, well, I don't have, I get to drive my ass next to the room next to me and go straight to sleep. Like, here we go. But no, like, for me, the mentality in the overnight was I am fully removed. All I had to talk to was my dog at that time. That's literally all I had to talk to. So that and Brandon and Aaron at that time. So it was like,
Oh, and what about you, Brandon? How does working from home affected you? Did it affect your like mental health always being home, or are you enjoying it?
I mean, definitely right now because I'm a dad now. Like it's really good for me because I get to see my son all day and I get to be here. Like I remember like how it used to be when I worked construction. Like I wouldn't be able to see them. I mean, I would be able to see them, but not as much as I do now. Like I would get home like at 6, and leave like in the morning. So like my time would be super reduced if I had to be working a job from the office. But definitely, I really relate to what Tony said. The communication it did become hard for me because since we didn't talk in person, whenever it was time for me to talk to somebody in person, I was like, either I wouldn't look them in the eyes, or like those social things that you gotta work on. Like that took me some effort, and for the podcast, I've actually been improving a little bit. Like I'll be talking to someone and I'll be like pretending like I'm doing a podcast. So like those social cues would be there, but definitely I like the work from home thing. It would be hard if it weren't work from home.
Do you guys find it difficult to split the work and home life since you are home? More often. Do you guys
once
find
that
yourselves like, oh, I'll just do this like little bit of work before I log off, or I'll just log in earlier to do this so I can get a head start? Or do you guys just start your shift at when you're supposed to start and then end it right where you need to end?
I have a hard cutoff. Once that shift is ended, my computer is off, closed, and out of the way. And that's when my day begins. It's my day now. So yeah, I don't have that issue. Me personally, no.
I mean, I'll get on like maybe 5-10 minutes before just to kind of like catch up on like emails, see what everyone's working on, just to kind of like gauge the level of work that day. But yeah, once it's like 10, usually I'll sign out.
Yeah, I get there early. Get on early, like Daniel, just to check on the emails, check on the chat to see what's going on from the other team. But like once 5 o'clock, I'm out. Don't hit me up.
It's too damn early for me to get on. It's too damn early for me to get up earlier than I already do for that. I'm good.
I think for me, it just depends because we have an on-call rotation. So if I'm on call that week, if there's something going on right before I'm about to leave, I might stay a little bit just to make sure it doesn't blow up, and they're going to call me anyway. Or same if I, wake up and look at my phone and stuff is already going crazy, I might log in early again because they're going to call me anyway. It really just depends if I'm on call or not. Usually if it's a weekend that I'm not on call, shut down. Don't talk to me. Just I'm not available.
Someone else's turn.
You have to do that. I mean, yeah, no, you really have to do that for your own mental health. I mean, if you don't, then, and especially working from home, then if you don't have that separation, yeah, no, you go crazy.
I was just gonna say, it makes me think of like the devs. They're like working all around the clock.
Well, honestly, I feel like they get paid enough to like do it, but I find it a little bit hard to make that divide. I think it's partially because I'm supposed to be like the supervisor, the people that my team is supposed to go to, and so I'll find myself like logging in at like midnight or like 6 a.m. and like just checking on their work just to make sure that everything is going correctly, or there isn't any mistakes. But it's definitely annoying to have to do that type of thing.
I mean, you don't do what Brandon does all the time. It just like pops in like every hour, even on his days off, gives you the peak.
If I'm asleep, if I'm asleep and they didn't catch me before I went to bed, then they don't get any help. Not even after I wake up, because there's a good chance that I'm not waking up before 8 o'clock, before they have to leave.
I love how you call me out, Billy, but I'm what's it called? I used to be a workaholic. Like, I know you guys have noticed, like, when I do something, I like become obsessed with it. My obsession right now is the podcast. But whenever I was whenever I would work my job, right, I always gave 110%. So I would be on like all the time, even when I was off. I would be like workaholic to
150%,
the
bro.
max. Yeah.
I feel
and now I've been cutting it back. I've been trying to work on that. I mean, and now that I have other things to do, obviously that helps.
He says that, but right 2 days after his baby's born, to the chat, and I'm like, I told you guys it was gonna happen.
I feel like that workaholic is a Hispanic thing. I think that we see our parents like work a lot. Like I know my parents were working like 12-hour shifts when I was a kid, and so I think that gets ingrained in you as a Hispanic. I don't know when it comes to like other races.
Well, I will speak as another race.
Mm.
I had to
What
teach
race,
myself.
eh?
I had to teach myself. A gringo, okay. No, I had to teach myself because even when I worked at Chuck E. Cheese, I burned myself out. Like I lived walking distance. My apartment was walking distance, so I was there all the time. If they needed me there, I was there. And if they didn't need me there, I was there. Like, so I had to do, like, and before I worked there, I worked at Hollister, where I put a 30-hour shift in working at Hollister.
I remember that story.
Yeah. So I worked my ass off at Hollister. I wouldn't have left that place if it wasn't for my best friend actually filling out my application without me noticing and setting up an interview at Chuck E. Cheese with his boss at that time.
Were you like outside modeling the jeans at Hollister?
I was in the front room. I was actually front room or cashier. I was in one of the two. So I was the front room on the girls' side or at the cashier.
But it was
Because
smell real. Well, that Hollister cologne.
it smelled, that's for sure.
It's ingrained in his nose.
So that getting myself to learn, I need to stop that so that I can actually like have a life outside of this was something that I had to teach myself, and that's a part of growing. I think that's not a racial thing. That's just your parents. Because my dad owned his own company, moving mobile homes, whenever I was young. So he was working from sun up to sundown, and I rarely saw the man. So that says anything. He was always working, and if he wasn't working, he was having fun. So I had to learn how to not work all the time.
Yeah, I had to teach myself the same and teach myself to not feel guilty to take PTO. Like, I don't know if you guys have felt that, but geez, I feel like every time I'm putting in a request, I'm like, but what if they need me? Or, or what if someone else wants to take off? And like my manager, my team lead, he had to like sit me down and tell me, you have over 100 hours PTO. You need to take you need to take some time off. You need to step away from this place. And yeah, it comes from the same from our parents. You see them work so hard, you never see them take a vacation. So it's ingrained. Yeah.
You could ask Brandon. Every year since I've worked here, I've waited to hold my PTO just in case something happened till like September, and then I put in all of my PTO for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
No, see, for me is on the weekends, I'm a little flexible. If my team needs me, if they catch me awake, I'll be there for them. But if I'm putting PTO, nobody's flexible. Like I don't care if the whole thing is burning down. If I'm on PTO, that's it. That you're not gonna hear back from me whatsoever. That's why I always try to
the others.
I always try to give my team like the biggest like refresh before I take vacation, because I make a point of telling them once I'm once my first day of vacation starts, you guys are not getting a hold of me whatsoever.
Yo, you're on your own.
Yeah, and that's how it should be. I mean,
Mm,
we shouldn't feel guilty to take off. And then when we do take off,
still
learn to
work.
not travel with our laptops. Yeah, I mean, I've been in the weirdest places with my laptop because I'm like, well, what if they call me, or what if I'm needed? So yeah, it's been a learning process for me to just start to let go. I haven't taken my laptop anywhere. Just if they do call me, I'll just handle it from my phone, and if not, they'll just have to wait till I get home. It's just learning to let go a little bit. It can be difficult.
My dad used to have a phrase every time I would say, "What if this?" He would say, "What if was a fifth?" And I'd look at him weird because I'd be like, "What?" And he goes, "We'd all be drunk." Because the amount of times you're wondering what if and all this what if, you'd be well past wasted. So let's not worry about that and worry about what is.
That's true. That's a good one.
So to close out the episode, guys, I do want to have y'all take away some key things that we mentioned. So if you're looking into getting into tech, definitely work on certificates. Try to look for companies like that have work from home availability, or if you're fine with going into office, that's also fine. But definitely work from home is a really good gig. I know coming from a Latino background, we feel like we just gotta put in the work and that'll put us above the rest. But sometimes you just gotta take that PTO, like take the break, because burnout is super real. I've also been there. I know everybody's been there, so definitely take a break. Don't push yourself too hard. I do want to ask Kim or Daniel, like, do you have any other like tips that you would say to somebody that's wanting to break into tech?
I would say learn how to interview. So if you can just get that interview and sell yourself, it makes a big impact, a big difference. If you can kind of like talk your way into it, that definitely helps.
Yeah, most definitely. You can have all the certs in the world, you can have your degree, but if you don't know how to have a communication, if you don't know how to socialize, especially with your interviewer, your recruiter, you're not going to get the job. It's definitely.
Yeah, definitely take these advices seriously, QBs. If you're listening or if you're interested in the tech world, I do want to thank you, Daniel and Kim, for joining. I love having you guys. I always want to. I'll reach out to you if I want to have another episode. It's really nice. But thank you, everybody, for joining, and until next episode.
It'll get real awkward if he doesn't reach out.